For millennia, the sands of Egypt have held their secrets close. They whisper of god-kings and queens, of unimaginable wealth, and of a civilization that built monuments to eternity. But among these whispers, there is one that carries a different tone. A note of dread, a chilling tale passed down through generations. It is the legend of the Pharaoh's curse. A curse not of fire or brimstone, but of something far more insidious. A slow descent into misfortune, a whisper of a broken promise, a chilling omen for those who dare to disturb the eternal slumber of Egypt's most powerful rulers. This is not just a story, it's a cautionary tale woven into the very fabric of history, a tale that found its most potent and infamous voice on a crisp November morning, a little over a century ago. The year was 1922. The world was on the cusp of a new age, but in the Valley of the Kings, two men were about to unearth a direct link to the past. Howard Carter, the indefatigable British archaeologist, and his patron, the wealthy Lord Carnarvon, had spent years searching for one thing: the tomb of the boy king, Tutankhamun. They had been dismissed, their funds were running low and hope was fading, but on November 4th, a single stone step revealed itself beneath the sand, and the course of history was changed forever. It was the entrance to a sealed tomb, a tomb that had remained untouched for over 3,000 years. What they found within was a treasure trove beyond imagination: golden coffins, jeweled artifacts, and a king's burial untouched by looters. But what they also found, or so the story goes, was the curse. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb was an international sensation. Newspapers around the globe ran headlines proclaiming the find. The public was captivated by the images of the glittering treasures. But even as the world marveled, the first seeds of the curse were being sown. The stories began with a serpent, a cobra, the very symbol of the pharaohs, was said to have devoured Howard Carter's pet canary on the very day the tomb was opened. It was a small incident, easily dismissed by the pragmatic, but for the superstitious, it was a potent symbol. The pharaoh's spirit, disturbed, had sent a warning, but the true legend of the curse wasn't born from a story about a canary. It came from a series of enigmatic warnings and unsettling events that followed the tomb's opening. Tales spread of a clay tablet found at the entrance, supposedly inscribed with a dire warning: "Death will come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." While no such tablet was ever officially documented by Carter or his team, the rumor took hold. It was the perfect narrative for an age fascinated by the mystical East. And the first victim of this supposed curse was none other than the man who had funded the entire expedition, Lord Carnarvon. Just 5 months after the tomb was opened, Lord Carnarvon was bitten by a mosquito on his cheek. A simple bite, but it became infected. The infection led to blood poisoning, and on April 5, 1923, he died in his hotel room in Cairo. The timing was too coincidental for many. The legend took on a life of its own. It was said that at the very moment of his death, all the lights in Cairo mysteriously went out. Carnarvon's dog, Susie, back in England, was said to have let out a mournful howl and died the very same night. Whether these details are true or later embellishments, they became part of the chilling narrative. The first great man to enter the tomb had paid the ultimate price. Newspapers, eager for a dramatic story, latched onto the curse of the pharaohs with a feverish intensity. Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes and a devout spiritualist, was one of the first to lend the curse an air of legitimacy, suggesting that malevolent elementals were responsible for Carnarvon's death. This was not just a tale of ancient Egypt, it was a story of a clash between science and the supernatural, between modern progress and the ancient forces it sought to uncover, and Carnarvon's death was only the beginning. As the years went on, a list of victims of the curse began to circulate. People connected to the tomb in some way who met untimely or tragic ends. George J. Gould, a wealthy American financier and a friend of Carnarvon's, died of pneumonia just a few months after visiting the tomb. Archibald Douglas Reed, a member of the tomb's X-ray team, died mysteriously a few years later. The list grew, and each death fueled the public's fascination. But what was the truth behind these tragedies? Was it truly a supernatural curse or something more mundane? For every believer, there was a skeptic. Howard Carter, the man at the center of it all, remained staunchly dismissive of the curse. He lived for another 16 years after opening the tomb, dying of a lymphatic illness at the age of 64, a respectable age for his time. He was a testament to the fact that the curse was not universal. So what was going on? The truth, as is often the case, is more complicated and less dramatic than the legend. Many of the supposed victims lived to a ripe old age. The list of people who worked on the excavation was long, and a few deaths over the course of many years were statistically inevitable. Carnarvon's death, while tragic, can be explained by modern medicine. He was in a weakened state, susceptible to infection, and there was a known link between his mosquito bite and his pre-existing medical conditions. The death list was a creation of the media, a sensationalized collection of coincidental tragedies spun into a single cohesive narrative. But even if it wasn't a supernatural curse, could there have been a scientific reason for the misfortunes? Modern research has offered a number of fascinating, if less romantic, explanations. The most compelling theory is the presence of ancient bacteria or fungi. For thousands of years, the sealed tombs were a perfect breeding ground for microbes. When the tombs were opened, these organisms could have been released into the air. People with weakened immune systems or pre-existing respiratory conditions could have easily become ill from inhaling these spores or bacteria. This theory provides a plausible, real-world explanation for many of the symptoms described, such as fevers and respiratory illnesses. Another theory concerns the possibility of toxic mold. Ancient tombs are often sealed from the elements, but not entirely. The humidity and darkness would be ideal for certain types of fungi, some of which produce mycotoxins that could be harmful to humans. While there's no concrete proof this was the cause of any specific death, it remains a tantalizing possibility. The curse may not have been a supernatural entity, but a biological one, a silent defender of the tomb that worked on a microscopic level. So what is the real legacy of the Pharaoh's curse? Is it a warning from the gods, a tale of ancient vengeance, or simply a series of tragic coincidences fueled by a sensationalist press? Perhaps it is all of these things and none of them. The curse of the Pharaohs endures not because it is true in a literal sense, but because it taps into a fundamental human fear, the fear of disturbing the unknown, of meddling with forces greater than ourselves, and of the price of hubris. The story of Tutankhamun's tomb is a story of discovery, of human ingenuity, and of immense historical significance. But woven into that story, like a thread of gold and shadow, is the legend of the curse. It serves as a powerful reminder that even in the modern age, there are some mysteries that refuse to be solved, and some whispers from the past that can never be fully silenced. The sands of Egypt still hold their secrets, and perhaps they always will.